All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss. This is session 29, our 29th week, not consecutive, but
Not
I think
anymore.
since session 20, we haven't been like on a weekly basis, but we've been counting them as the weeks, as we've gone by. My name is Delilah De La Rosa. I am the person that is receiving this unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. To my side here is Steven Morrison. He is the founder of Spiritual Workout. That is the practice that really undergirds what we're talking about here. It's like basically this is AKA Spiritual Workout for grief and loss. This is Steven. He is also the author of An Extra Year. The lighting is crazy. It's looking like it's blurred, like it has a filter. Oh my God, it looks like celestial.
All right.
Right?
It is.
There we go. An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. I read this back, I think it was 2008. This book is based on Steven's experience, the extra year after his lovely partner, Duder, Steve, passed away back in 2005. And it pretty much documents what happened in the aftermath.
Could also be called Spiritual Workout for Grief and Loss.
That too. Yeah, that too. Welcome. How are you, Steven?
I am quite well. Thanks for asking. It's nice to see you again, and I'm eager to talk about what you want to talk about.
Thank you. Thank you. And I also like to welcome all non-physical entities who may be joining us right now. My mother, she is the reason why we are having this, put on this series for the past, how many weeks?
Year plus.
Yeah, she's the reason. My mother, she passed away on November 4th. She was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, passed away.
November 4th of
2024. 2024. Right. I have to now distinguish like the timeline because it's over a year
16
now.
16 months or so.
Yeah, it's over a year now. And so, yeah, she is the reason for why we are putting on this series. So welcome. Also, Duder, Steve, if you're around, let me know. Let us know. Tune in, tapped in.
He's a partner in this project.
Yes, he is. And of course, any and all non-physical entities, guides, we welcome all of the divine here. All right. So let's get this started. It's been quite a while. I think our last
2 months.
Our last session was in January. It's when I came back, I kind of gave an update as to how the holiday season went for me. Wasn't very easy. Learned a lot. Even though it wasn't technically the first holiday season since my mother passed, it kind of felt like it. Like I mentioned, she had passed away November 4th, 2024. So soon after that, it was her birthday, Turkey Day, Christmas, New Year's, like all in one. And in a way, I kind of feel like that was a good thing, just to kind of blur it all together in a way. Like, I don't know, I felt like it was, just, it wasn't like I had to anticipate, a couple of months down the line, like, oh my God, what is it going to be like or anything. It was just right there, However, the holiday season in 2025 did feel kind of like that first holiday season without my mom. Not to mention my sister friend, one of my best friends, her husband sort of abruptly died at the end of October, like right before I was going to have my 1-year remembrance dinner for my mother. And, that I think, kind of put me in a bit of state of a shock, a little derailment. I was really feeling like I was getting it together, I was doing my acupuncture, my self care, and just getting my body, my system right. And then, boom, life happens. And it was it was a shock, right? It was a shock. And um, I'm seeing, I saw in January how much I needed to recuperate. So in January, we did another session to talk about how that all was. It was really taxing on my system, but I set the intention to take this first quarter of this year to regroup, simplify, um, take things off of my plate. Really, like I mentioned, simplifying. I feel like that's what I was being asked to do. And that's what I did. January, I did it in New York. I came out here to LA in February, and that was what I did. No pushing, no, I mean, of course, life's right. So, if anything came up, okay, but thankfully nothing did. And I was just able to get on a very, a good routine for me,
Good.
which
I
is
was just going to ask you what regrouping and simplifying looked like for you.
I will tell you.
Okay.
So for on the one of the things was with respect to my health. I was taking a whole bunch of supplements, which was helpful, useful for me back in early 2025. But toward the end of the year, I just started feeling very stressed out about it. It just felt like too much. And I needed to check in with myself. And my body was really asking for getting back to basics, staying hydrated, having a balanced diet, good sleep, movement, soothing stuff, centering stuff, alignment stuff, keeping it simple, not like I need to take 500 grams of protein and creatine and magnesium and okay. And let me tell you, I haven't taken any supplements, not one, nary, okay, for like the past almost 3 months now. And I feel great. It's not to say that I'm never going to take supplements. It's all bullshit or whatever. I'm just saying that right now, I was needing to listen to myself, right? So I was just like, I'm not going to do this because I'm feeling really stressed out. And then I just tense up in my body. It just defeats the purpose here, So that's one way. The other way was limiting travel. Making sure that any kind of commitments, any kind of commitments were like yes commitments, and not my just tagging along because I feel like I should, and like questioning myself and whether I'm a no person or yes. No, it was like, how do I feel? Do I really want to do this or no? Like that's what I'm talking. Listen and inspire. Exactly. Regrouping essentially was my way of allowing room for me to listen to inspiration.
It requires some quiet to hear.
Yes. Yes. So I just wanted to lay low, simplify, not any kind of commitments where there's like engagement and, some energy involved, it had to be a yes, not like I'm tagging along. That's how I was feeling toward the end of last year. Right. No regrets over what I did, last year. I got some intel. But my whole system, my whole self, capital S, was like, slow down. So that's what I did. That's what I meant by regrouping. And now in March, this was the first, I would say like 2 weeks ago, I forgot what date it was the best week that I've had in months, perhaps over a year, right? Where it was like, okay, I have my acupuncture, I had my osteopathic doc. I know I talked about simplifying, but this is part of my simplification. But it was like, these were like my yeses. Like, this was like, oh, how do I squeeze it in? No, I was like really looking to schedule those things, right? Prioritizing. Yeah. So I just had like I said, I created a really good routine that I could add on to as I felt I was ready for, right? And that's what's been happening. My mom comes into this because I actually had some dreams back in January and February that really informed me. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in our last session, but in January, the first dream I had with her, which was very vivid, mind you, it was since August of 2025. That was the last dream that I remembered her in it. And so for the longest time, well, for those couple of months between August and January, there was just no, there wasn't that kind of connection. Right. And so I think that may have, contributed to my feeling a little bit at a loss during that time, with the shock and the holiday season and just feeling really overwhelmed. And I felt like, I think there was a little bit of fear, anxiety over not having that connection or not feeling that connection. Okay. But in January, very vivid dream. However, not the most pleasant one, but it was informative. And it ties into my regrouping and what the whole physical loss turning into spiritual gain. So this dream, she was, this is in January. She was in this house that it kind of looked like it was in Mexico for some reason. Like, it wasn't a house that I was familiar with, but that I've seen in my dreams other times, right? And I saw her at the corner of this bed, right? With like the sheets kind of on her. And my cousin, one of my cousins, who's really low maintenance, she's not a bugaboo, like she's not demanding, she's really incredibly sweet. And like, she doesn't bother, like, anyway. So when she comes and visits, it's like a sweet thing. It's not seen as like, oh my God, what the hell do they want, But so my cousin, Carla, right? My cousin Carla in this dream was knocking on the door, right? And my mom wasn't answering it. And I was like, Mommy, Carla's at the door, And she was like, I don't want to see anyone. Right. And I was like, but Ma, it's Carla. Like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? She's harmless. Like, she doesn't bother anyone. And she got so mad at me. And she was like, in Spanish, she was like, I told you, Lila, I don't want to see anyone. And then she puts the like covers over her head. And that's all I remember.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, that was a really interesting dream, right? And mind you, this was not a departure from my mother's personality, because she would act like that sometimes, where I would actually ask her, like, what's the big deal, Ma? And she would be like, Lila, stop it. I just don't want to do it, And I was like, damn, but I don't, what's the big, I mean, she's like harmless. Like, it's okay. She's like, what did I tell you? Like she would say, like she would just get into those moods sometimes. And I couldn't understand it, because it's not like this person was like, hollering at her and, annoying her or anything. But she, in real life, right, she did, well, in this reality, she would sometimes act like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of like, trying to understand what because it was really vivid, right? And it wasn't such a departure from how she was in this reality, like how she would just sometimes get into this mood of like, don't fucking bother me. Like, I don't care if they're fucking nice. You know what I mean? It's like, don't bother me. So I don't want to, she's the sweetest thing and has like the warmest energy, but sometimes she got into her thing of like, right? And then reflecting on this dream, it made me, I actually got pretty emotional, because, see, it's coming up again. It's like I felt like I had an understanding now of why she would get like that, because that's how I was feeling. Like people being like, what's the big deal, Delilah? And I'm just like, I just can't engage right now. Like, I don't know what it is, but I can't do it. And, like my asking her for explanation when it's just like, look, I don't have one, but I'm not feeling it.
I just gave you the explanation.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just not feeling it. That's it. It's a no.
Yeah.
It's a no. I don't need to explain it.
Right.
It's a no. And I just remember not being able to understand that when my mom was in this dimension, this terrain, and not being able to understand why she would get like that, especially with people that were like harmless, but where I was, with the holiday season and just feeling like overwhelmed and like, I have like people that I normally want to hang out with, but I would just be filled with a lot of stress and just resistance toward engaging, because my system was wanting stillness and space, right? Gather my thoughts, gather myself. But yet I was kind of like, I wasn't really receiving pressure from the outside. It was more from the inside. And so I just felt like that dream, number one, allowed me to really understand my mother at that time. And then also helped me understand myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't need to give an explanation. Like, this is just how I'm feeling. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And it was emotional for me because of that. It was like, wow, I have like a better understanding, and yes, there was a little bit of a feeling of like, damn, I wish I could have been more understanding while she was here, of it, and not give her a hard time, because the way that she responded in the dream, like, Lila, I told you, like, stop it, like, stop being so pushy. And I was like, damn, like,
I want to interrupt you right there and just make a point here. So here. What you just said about, I wish she were still here so I could, what? So you could Fix something, heal something within you,
I actually meant more that I
demonstrate some
wish that back
understanding.
then, when she was here, when she was in this, on this planet in physical form,
Yeah.
that I wish I had been able to understand her then,
Okay.
and not be so pushy,
But
you know?
when we look through the lens of be present and consider metaphysics, there's more going on than what's going on here. And this is a big part of unconventional wisdom on grief and loss.
The lineage.
You can do now with your mom in non-physical what you might have done a year and a half ago. There is only now.
Oh, got it.
When we heal today, we heal our past. That's what that whole idea means. So I just wanted to interrupt that and perhaps help you to not carry around, boy, it sure would have been nice if, when in fact you can do that now.
Yeah, and when I was talking to my husband about it, after the dream, because I was telling him, I was like, wow, like, because I was feeling a little bit like that from him. Not that he was giving me pressure or anything like that, but I think he was just not understanding why I was like, no, 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 like too much,
Like you weren't understanding your mom in the dream.
That's exactly, I felt that, and I told him this, I was like, wow, like now I get it. And I just got a bit verklempt because I was like, damn, I wish that was the case then, but from what you're telling me, right. But at the same time, when I felt a little bit verklempt about not doing it back then in the past, I also felt like, well, now I have an understanding. Now I could incorporate it into my own life. And this is just an example of physical loss turning into spiritual gain, right? So that was a really nice experience. That, I was just like, wow, like what a deep level of understanding there, and seeing that whole idea of physical loss turning to spiritual gain, like panning out, The second dream that I had, very vivid dream that I had, was in February when I was here. And this is another one. Another very, expanding my level of understanding, right? Deepening my level of understanding. So I had this dream that I was at, this is a trip. Okay. So I've brought up this memory, this experience that I had with my mom when she was first hospitalized, while she was pregnant with my brother. She was 8 months pregnant, hospitalized. She had arrhythmia. And, at the time I was staying at my play aunt's house. She's like a really close family friend that I looked like an auntie, and my play cousin, right, there. And I was staying with them while my mom was hospitalized. And so as a little girl, I was like 9. As a little girl, I took it as like, oh, I get to be with my play cousin who I really admire and look up to. And this is going to be fun. My little young me, really helping myself out here, really helping myself out here by just being like, this is going to be fun, and I'm going to have a little brother afterwards, But my mother, I guess she was really feeling very scared about her condition. She was 8 months pregnant, hospitalized with a case of arrhythmia. She was very, very stressed. My parents' marriage was just, trash back then. And she was really, really stressed. And yeah. So that was like my first encounter. That was like the very first time that the idea of my mom dying was a thing. I didn't have to go into that, but I wanted to tell you about how in this dream, that plain aunt's house was the setting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the setting. The specific bedroom that I slept in was apparently my mother's room in this dream. Okay. And so I go and like arrange the furniture there to help her out. Right. And then a little bit afterwards, I go back into the room and my mother completely rearranged it.
Back
And
to what it was, or in a different way?
back in a different way.
Okay.
Her way. Okay. And I was like, and I was just like, why did she rearrange it? But you know what? I think I like this better. And then I woke up. And I was like, this is, to me, I'm making it mean that I can't intend for my mother, and I could never intend for my mother. And all that time that I was like, I wish that she would have done certain things so that she didn't have to suffer or feel shame or this and that. Like I wanted to save her from that, or I just couldn't bear watching her deal with challenges or suffering, low self-esteem or shame, inadequacy, like all those, things that I may actually deal with, myself. Like it was really hard for me to take in. And I remember telling her, like, kind of being a little pushy about it. Like, why don't you divorce my father? And why don't you, like, stop, Ma. But at the end of the day, she wasn't going to separate from my father. One example, she wasn't going to separate from my father on my timeline. It was on her timeline, on her terms. And I've been coming I've been coming to terms with this idea that, like, who am I to say that she shouldn't deal with shame or suffering, like I know when people try to be like, don't cry, don't feel that way. I'm like, get off me. Like, I'm gonna emote the way I'm gonna fucking emote. Fuck off. Like, back up. You know what I mean? It's gonna be okay. Let me live. You know what I mean? Back up, And that's exactly how my mom felt, and like, and so I felt like this, that dream really represented that, and it was also really good for me personally because it told me reinforced this idea of living life on my own terms.
Right.
And that I can't intend for anyone. And I do not have a say in people's life experience, as much as sometimes I want to, but like, I really don't. And it's okay, so those were like the two very vivid dreams that I felt carried some really important messages for me in terms of my personal growth and development. Because what I'm seeing right now is that whole yearning, desire for intention, for regrouping and stillness and space is so that I can like understand what my terms are, what my yeses are, what my nos are, honoring my own pace, because I will admit that there's some fears there that come up, fearful thoughts that come up, that if I don't go along with the others, with their pace, their flow, I'm going to be left behind. You know, I'm going to be missing out. I'm going to be left behind.
There's the belief that's being called fear.
Right. That's what I said. Fearful thoughts.
I got it. Yep.
Fearful thoughts of, you know, yep. I'm going to be left behind if I don't get it together, if I don't jump on board, you know what I mean? Like there's been quite a few years, even prior to my mother passing away, I would say like in the last decade or more, where I feel like that discernment, that ability to really know what my yeses are and what my nos are, have been a little bit quashed, you know, because of those fearful thoughts of ideas, beliefs of, if I don't do it now, if I don't go with, you know, with what's in front of me, I'm going to be left behind. Right. The other part of it too is like,
when you hear yourself say that now, do you believe that?
I think that there's still some remnants of that. Okay. There's still some remnants of that, primarily with respect to, you know, my husband and, you know, my husband, and I would say maybe even just for myself in terms of like, I don't want to, like, there's this idea that I have of like, I don't want to be down in the dumps. And then I'm going to be like 55 and it's just like, you're still down in the dumps. And, you know, so there's a little bit of the trying to put a little deadline on, you know, the needing the space and stillness and all of that. There's a little tiny bit there, but I feel like that's withering away. I feel like that's withering away. But it's definitely, I felt like those two dreams were messages from the divine, from my mom, about what I need to do here, you know, the version of myself that I intend to be, you know.
Can you tell any difference? Can you detect any difference in your connection to your mom in the beginning of January and since then and since these dreams?
Well, it's been a little interesting, and that's what I wanted to continue talking about.
Yeah.
It's been a little interesting because I got that messaging, you know, I got those messages that I felt were messages, you know, and guidance. And I was able to receive it. Right. And as I'm receiving it, right, and acting it out, living it, you know, I started embarking on some creative projects, some passion projects, which I think also added to feeling better in my body, because I felt like I little bit of a fire, a good fire, you know, under me, like that kind of movement. And, you know, one of those passion projects is on a topic that my mom had experienced, right? With my grandfather, basically. A friend of mine is writing a book about the silent treatment, and just talking about the serious nature of it and how we don't take it very seriously here. And it really spoke to me because, number one, I wasn't aware of like how ridiculous and how rampant that silent treatment is in, you know, at least in our culture. And you know, how people use it almost like a conflict strategy, but it's like emotional abuse. Okay. So, you know, it's a very enlightening, informative, soulful project that I saw my friend pour her heart and soul into it, her whole self into it. And my mother experienced that with my grandfather, right? When she set her boundaries, he got really upset and didn't talk to her for 2 years. Basically, he started talking to her a year before she died. Okay, that's another thing. But, at least they started talking before she died. But, like, yeah. So it really struck a chord for me, the topic. And I just felt like in, helping her get the word out, like on a PR, publicity front, I felt like I was doing it also in honor of my mom. Like I felt like the reason why that project has been going so well and flowing is because it's like my mom is liking the fact, the divine is liking the fact that I am applying myself in this way, a very heart-driven, soul-driven way, right? And at the same time, remember how a couple of sessions ago, or just in some of our sessions, previous sessions, I talked about sometimes feeling like a little disloyal in not following my mom's footsteps in certain things.
Yes.
Even though I know my mom doesn't want me to follow in those particular footsteps, okay? But there's something in me, I guess beliefs, right? There that I feel like consciously I'm not aligned with it, right? Like I know my mom doesn't want me to follow in those footsteps for these certain things, you know what I mean? But there's a part of me that still feels the sensation of like sadness in wanting to do things differently, and that's been making me a little weepy, like when I'm like in the flow and I'm doing my thing, with this project. And then I'll just like some of these thoughts come up of, when she, look, this book that my friend created, a lot of what she says in there, she talks a lot about her marriage, okay? Which was plagued by this silent treatment, chronic, prolonged silence used as punishment and with no intention for repair. That's a definition. A lot of what she talks about in the book about her experience and the feedback that she got from lots of different kinds of people, family, churches, clinicians, therapists, that were not treating this in the way, and were actually trying to dissuade her from separating, right? A lot of what she talks about reminds me so much of my mother. And I find myself emoting in certain places, because I was like, I felt like this is like what my mom was thinking, how she was feeling, and this is the feedback that she got. And I just get very sad about it. And I just start crying, and I don't know. It's like this.
What's the sad part?
Sad about those memories.
What do you mean?
The memories of my mom not getting the support. And just how difficult it was for her. My friend's articulating in this book.
Yeah.
What my mom, and then there's a little part of me that I'm not regretting or anything like that, but I also added a little bit to it because I was so vocal with my mom about how much I wanted her to not be in the situation and not feel this way, and so it just felt like That's what I get sad about. You know, I
But I
get a
also
little,
hear in what you're saying, if I'm hearing correctly, or maybe I'm projecting, that part of the impetus for you to take on this project, which I happen to know is, along the lines of the work you used to do and
yeah,
not
yeah,
really what you do all day, every week, every month, that you're literally handpicking this project to do for now anyway, right?
yeah, and
So
it's a very limited scope.
I
Like
get
it's
it.
like
Yeah, yeah,
three
yeah.
publications,
I totally get it. But my
but
point,
yeah,
what I'm hearing in you also is an impetus that is that not partially to retroactively, quote unquote, help your mom, help
yes,
anybody in that situation.
yes,
So,
yes, yeah,
intention wise, which I'm always listening for, um, and making meaning of what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? I mean, so does it does it at all counter the sadness? And again, there's nothing wrong with sadness except if it just lives on and on and on and
yeah,
on, and we're not really just
right.
processing through it. Um, but does it dissolve, or does it address or soften the sadness to look through the lens of your intention now for why
Yes,
you're doing what you're doing?
yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it definitely does. I would say that in the past couple of weeks as I've been working on it, it's been a little mixed, right? It's like I'll
Mhm.
have those moments as I'm reading certain passages and like I feel it striking a chord, striking a chord in me, like really pulling it. I was like, ooh, okay, like it's bringing. I'm emoting, okay, I'm emoting,
Mhm.
and it's like bringing up a lot of familiar events that
Mhm.
I witnessed with my mom or experienced with my mom. And so I will get a bit verklempt when I'm seeing that. And then I also go into like, well, this is why I'm doing this, is so that people understand, the seriousness of this form of punishment, form of emotional abuse. And we're enlightening people, we're informing people. A lot of people really don't know about this. And that's why they continue to use it as a form of like control,
Yeah.
basically. And
Or
don't and kind of like,
or
oh,
avoidance.
yeah, like he gave me the silent treatment. Or even my friend, when she was talking about it at this conference, like these two men were sitting with her and asked her about her book. She's like, I'm writing the book on the silent treatment. And one of them was like, oh, I'm the king of that. And then when she went into like what the book was about, he left the table.
Yeah.
No, he
He
left the
what?
table. He left
Oh,
the
he
table,
left.
and that's when it was like, we're doing the good work here,
Yeah.
like this is what I meant by the passion stuff. And like you said, I definitely feel like this is my way of retroactively helping my mom here.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Can we talk a little bit more about the sadness
Yes.
for what you saw her, you know, experience with regard to that subject or any subject, right? Because I think that it's really um, critical as conscious people. And you were talking about this earlier about, for certain you can't intend for somebody else. You can't create in somebody else's experience. None of us can. Why is that? Because every single one of us on a soul level, here on purpose for a purpose, having experiences, none of which are accidental, all of which, regardless of what it might look like to any of us down here walking around in these meat suits on the planet at this time, every single bit of which serves that soul on some level. So the sadness that you're experiencing is really a judgment that something should have been different in your mom's life experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if, as and when, you relook in that direction or look back at it through that lens, that should ameliorate any sadness mechanically. Wow, I have a judgment that what my mom experienced when she was living was really awful. And you have every right to view it however you view it. The glitch is it should have been different for her.
Right. Yeah, I see that. I see that. And I think to a certain extent, I don't mind holding that judgment to a certain extent, where to a place where it's just like, I didn't want to see her undergo that.
Of
However,
course.
however, I know I don't have a say in that. And the reason I don't have a say in that is because who am I to say what should be part of her life experience?
Exactly.
You know, again, she didn't feel support at that time. Okay. I find that sad. You know, I wish that would have been different for her, because I don't like seeing my loved ones hurting, right? Fine.
Absolutely.
Fine. However, I also know at the same time that she didn't receive the support at the time because she needed to find it within herself, you know, and she needed to find, you know, she needed to work it out.
You're offering an example of why that would have been her experience.
That's what I'm saying, because she eventually did do these things on her own timeline, her own terms, when it was right for her. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, you know, yeah.
To complete the circle here, it's also not an accident that she was your mom and that you witnessed that particular thing. That is also not an accident. So what you're doing with it, at least with regard to this project, is very healing, as you've been saying, and it's clear and obvious that it is. So it's really just down to the nitty-gritty for you in the course of the hours and days and weeks that you're working on this project to choose how to view it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I feel you and see you going kind of just back and forth within that, which is part of the process. But I'm just emphasizing and just underscoring for you the choice opportunity. You know, good old choices abound. How am I going to choose to look at this? As sadness about my mom's experience, or the healing that I'm bringing to hers and all potentially many others?
And that's where,
so it's just, that's what I mean. Yeah, going back and forth. So just realize that that's what's happening. Notice, okay, if I really consciously choose here, what's going on? This is part of that swirl dynamic that we always talk about.
A blender.
Make sense?
It does. And let me add to that, because part of the sadness as well was not just the way I viewed what my mom's experience was in those times,
right?
But in her last days here on this planet, I saw her, and I heard her speak in regret language.
Yeah.
And I think that also kind of adds to that, you know, because I'm seeing her, listening to her in her last days, like for example, when she got a new fridge, she had this whack ass fridge, you know, that her fucking bunk ass like landlords gave her for like 15 years. It was like a terrible fridge or whatever. And then when she was sick, it was like, fuck it, like let's get a fucking nice, you know, beautiful fridge or whatever, finally. Because she was like looking, you know, we gifted her with like money for like a new fridge, but she just was so indecisive about like, what do I want? What do I want? You know? And then finally when she was sick, it was like, okay, I'm like, I'm just get it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we had the new fridge there, she looked at the fridge and she just her mind was on this like, I can't believe I fucking lived like that with that stupid fucking fridge. Like she said this, you know, and I'm there like, oh, like I saw her face, you know, she was like, why did I allow myself to live like this with that stupid fucking fridge, you know? And I told my mom, I was like, Ma, like, it is what it is. Now you have this beautiful new fridge. It's like, look at that right now, you know? And she's like,
That's
yeah,
a choice. Which
right,
direction am I going to look
right,
in?
right. But she was, yeah, she was just like, you know, and like, again, who am I to say that she can't be regretful?
Exactly. What do you think now that she's back in non-physical? What do you think she would say about that now? About her own regret at the time?
I think that she would still feel a bit like, why did I fucking say all this time with that? But she's not, but I don't think it's gonna land as hard, right? Like I don't think it's landing as hard because it doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
Wherever she's at, she don't need a fridge. You know what I'm saying? But I think that there was just, I do feel that I don't think it's like such a sharp, profound regret, like how she was kind of expressing herself, you know, then.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that she would probably be like, I would do that differently. That's all.
Yep.
Like, but lighter. Like I would do that differently,
Mm-hmm.
you know. That's how I feel she would be, you know. Like I would do that differently, but it wasn't like that. So okay.
Right.
You know, that's how I feel, you know, honestly. And that's how I kind of go about things that I kind of wish I would have done differently, but I don't feel like I have this regret. It was a waste of my time. What was I doing? You know, no. I haven't had that thus far. But if I had the opportunity, maybe I would have tweaked some things, you know, but it's light. It's not attached to that, you know. So yeah, I feel like again, what contributes to sometimes to that sadness is uh hearing, listening, witnessing my mom feeling regret in her last
Well,
days and expressing that, you
and
know.
generically speaking, looking back,
I
does
know.
not produce fun, happy feelings. It just usually doesn't.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's just to answer the question about
Yeah.
what can contribute to the sadness. And there was definitely some of that coming up because, you know, my friend who's, you know, the author of the book was also expressing a little bit, I don't know about regret, but that she was also expressing a similar thing of like, why did I do that to myself for 15 years? You know?
Yeah.
Like, why did I do that to myself for 15? And it reminded me of my mom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like when she was kind of expressing a bit of regret of like, why did I withstand that? Why did I take that? You
And
know?
yet, the expression of that thought and those kinds of thoughts is evidence of one's growth.
Right.
Being able to see now from some remove, wow, I'm not going to do that again. You know?
Yeah. It's again, messages, you know,
Yeah.
some good messages there.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, the other thing I wanted to bring up, there's two other things. One, what the other thing that's kind of related to this is that I have been having quite a few moments. And I notice that they happen with like, you know, as time moves on, you know, like certain dates in the calendar. Now we're in spring, the changing of the season. oh, we have another holiday that we've gone on, this, or, another birthday, or this and that. And I'm seeing myself, I'm experiencing the missing her feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about this with my husband about how I was like, I can get a little sad, like teary, weepy about missing her physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't mind it too much.
What are you not minding?
Not minding missing her physical presence, because as opposed to thinking that like she died, that's bad. She's in the non-physical, that's bad. That's not where I'm coming from,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's where some people missing the physical presence, that it's rooted in that some of the time. Right. But mine is more just strictly.
I wish you were here to go take a walk with me on this beautiful spring day.
Yes. No. She was also a means for which I was able to magnify. Mm-hmm. Right? We talked about this before. Like that was one of the things that I realized. I didn't realize it when she was here, but I realized it over the holiday season when I was in Mexico. And that normally she would be one of those people that I didn't have to care what mood she was in. I knew that she was going to be happy for me as I'm romanticizing my life freely with her. She's not thinking, oh, this fucking bitch, like, bragging and shit, like look at her living her like fabulous little life or whatever. Like, bitch, I'm hurting right now. I don't want to see this shit. Like I didn't have to worry about this at all with my mother.
Yeah.
Because even if she was down in the dumps, my being happy and sharing that with her would make her happy. Right. Would lift her up. At least like, yeah, I'm feeling like shit, but my daughter's happy. You know what I mean? And that I realized she was such an integral part of my magnifying my life, And so I guess now I have to rework that, in some way. Let's see how it flows, right? But that's the intention, is to be able to like do that freely, I also missing that warmth that I get from her because, like I mentioned in other sessions, I don't have the kind of personality that's like, oh my God, sweetie. Oh no, I'm a little bit of a ball buster. I'm a little bit like, what? Like, I mean, I'm a kind girl, but like, and I'm warm, but I also,
You're from the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx,
You have to say anything else.
Like, it's just, and I was just like, seeing how I was like, I'm kind of missing that nurturing, that warm.
Okay, so right there, creating an intention for that feeling, creating an intention for nurturing from yourself, and don't worry about who or how it's coming.
Right. How or the when. Yes.
Thank you, Mom, for showing me this thing that I'm so missing. I'm just going to, instead of miss it, nothing wrong with missing it.
Within, taking care of nurturing myself.
However it comes, right. Yeah. So she taught you what it feels like. She can't give that to you in the physical now, but it can come to you in all manner of other ways, including like what you just said, or perhaps starting with coming from within. But that's always the rub, and people just gloss over it so quickly, and they think and talk and act and focus upon what's gone. When best practice, look, honor whatever feelings come with that. Yeah. It's not to pretend that that's not the case and that we don't have feelings about it. But if we really want to heal from, move through, and incorporate the loss experience into the totality of our lives, it's much better practice whenever one can to, in this example, focus in on that. Okay, I'm missing my mom, that nurturing that only she could do, but I'm going to change my mind that it's only her. I
Yeah.
want to still have that. I still want to experience that. So now I'm literally, as I'm speaking, springboarding from unwanted into something more intentional, and cultivating that and laying back and listening, waiting to see how and when it's other versions of feeling nurtured are going to come.
Yeah, because I'm definitely not getting it from my grandfather or my father or my brother or my husband. The closest like men in my life are deer in headlights when it comes to this shit. Like I'm like crying freely and they're like, they don't even want to look at me.
You done? Are you done?
Like, yeah, like my dad's like, my
What
grandfather's
do I
like,
do? What do I do?
and I'm just like, oh my, come on, guys. Really? Like, stop. Like, let's get it. Come on. But people are who they are,
What's the
and,
song?
and I get love and support from them in other ways.
Of
Okay.
course.
But in terms of the like, I'm emoting, I'm crying, and they're just like,
How long are you going to be doing this for?
no, like they literally can't even, like my dad literally cannot even look. Like he's like, how you doing, mommy? And I'm just like, not so good, I'm just like, missing my mom. And he's like, it's like,
Bless his heart.
yeah, I know. Bless my heart. Fuck that shit.
Yours too.
No, but it's, I was seeing that and I was laughing about it. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I'm not gonna force them to be nurturing or be comfortable with my emoting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. However, I do recognize that I receive love and support from them in other ways, and I also do get that warmth, that nurturing vibe from my acupuncture.
That's, yeah.
And
we
my
don't care how it happens.
And my Peruvian therapist.
Fair enough. See, you got it.
My acupuncture, my Chinese doctor, he just like from the start, he was like, okay, sweetie. And I'm just like, this may be considered a little inappropriate, but I love it. I was like, I feel so taken care of, But yeah, like I wanted to bring that up because I've been noticing that missing her physical presence, specifically those things like the walks and her voice, just like, having that physical presence,
Sure.
that seemed easier to connect at this time, right? As I learn how to connect with my mom now in the divine, right? Like I do have, and I was telling my husband this, I was like, this is not coming from like, oh, my mom shouldn't have died, or, dying is a bad thing or anything. I don't feel like that, but I do miss her. I miss that
Sure.
physical presence,
Sure.
and I was like, I think that's okay.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Well, here's where I go into the last thing that I wanted to bring up. The reason why it wouldn't be is because I'm still feeling that heaviness in my heart. And it feels like that heaviness in the heart feels like it's getting in the way of my intentions and aligning with my intentions a bit, like it's getting in the way of embodiment, it feels to me.
Okay. Do you know what the heaviness is? Excuse me. What the heaviness is?
It's coming from doubts about how much of a say I have in life, for sure. And
So do you know where to go then specifically with that? Or where would you go with that?
Well, I tap out the beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or what
Yeah.
I think the beliefs are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of it is that it's really coming from how much of a say do I actually have here?
Which
Like
is not new for
not
you
new,
at
not
all.
new, but it definitely like I was able to access embodiment, you know, I was having troubles even prior to my mom's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was still able to access embodying intentions, even for a split second. And when everything went down with my mom, it actually even kind of got in the way in terms of even envisioning, like setting like even saying it, because there was so much resistance
Mm-hmm.
there. And a lot of that resistance is like, kind of the same stuff from before. How much of a say do I actually have? Do I really want to set my sights so high and then, be brought back down here, blindsided, right? And, the universe fucking up my program.
Yeah. So
Right?
well, good. So you know exactly what that heaviness is, and you know how to transmute and transform it.
But it's not transmuting or transforming.
Are you tapping on these beliefs every day?
Yes. Well, not every day. So I need to.
Let's just say often.
Yes.
Are they softening?
They soften okay, so this is how I don't know if this is considered softening, right?
Go ahead.
But the way I did it, something that came up for me that allowed me to somewhat access, like my power is this idea of like, look, I'm not in charge of everything. Okay? I know this. I'm not in charge of everything. I'm not micromanaging the fucking universe. I'm not. I know this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The question of how much of a say I actually have is a little, not so secure right now. Right. For me. Right. It's like I want to believe it. I feel like deep down in my core, I do believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of cloudiness, a lot of muck in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I said to myself was like, look, if the amount of say I actually have in my life is a bunch of bullshit, let's say, right? Like, let's just say it's a bunch of bullshit. Who cares? Like, keep going anyway. Like, just for right now, like that kind of allowed me to just be like, kind of move forward still, allow me to like actually embark on these passion projects, because
Right.
I was like, look, I don't know for sure how much of a say I actually have, but I'm just gonna choose to act as if. Right?
That's the best thing to do.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. And I don't feel like it's completely, solid 100
Right.
on it, but it's gotten me a
Well,
little bit.
yeah. So it's like the end of the month now. You're doing this already. Like say for the whole month of April, I'm just gonna act as if that I really have agency, and I'm not going to doubt and da 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 da. I still would want to know a little bit more detail wise if there's something more we could be doing with tapping and transmuting those beliefs.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
I think for right now, that what I settled on for right now
Mm-hmm.
helped me
I understand that. I
keep
feel that,
moving, but
it doesn't
it's not the end.
get it. Yeah, it doesn't
It's
get
not the
all the
end.
way to.
It's
Yeah.
not the end because I still feel that, I still feel the resistance
Yeah.
to, like, the for example, health. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's like the popular one for me, the health stuff. Right. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying to myself, I want to be, I'm the person that goes and takes whatever scans that she takes and is just like, what's up? Give it to me because I know it's gonna be great. I'm just doing this to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like free with that, right? I want to. I am excited about the trips that I'm taking, about the events that are coming up, about the engagement, like all of that, which I'm not experiencing right now. That's the intention. And there's a lot of resistance with planning my future.
Okay.
There's still that resistance, but that little thing that I settled on, I don't know how much of a say I have, but I'm going to act as if right now.
Good.
Allow some room, right? But I know I need to solidify.
I would recommend either we do another session like this with that, or we just do it, off camera. But either way,
let's do another session with
okay.
it. Yeah. Because I really, I feel, I could feel it.
I can too.
I could feel it. I was just like, all right, I'm tired of this.
It's tiring.
Yeah. And I'm tired of feeling disconnected from my power.
Good.
I'm tired
That's what spurs the change.
I'm tired of not believing.
Yeah. Good.
Fully, Yeah. I'm tired of the non-alignment.
Let's schedule that for whenever you want to, but let's, in the not too distant future.
No, yeah. Like next week or the week after. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. If, you're
with your schedule.
But yeah, that's definitely like that thing that I need some more practice. I need to work out a bit more because it's a sensation too, right? Sure. It's like a sensation there, like a heaviness that I'm just like, I want to, break out.
You're halfway there. You're aware of it. You know what it is. Now it's just a matter of transmuting.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Like, let's transmute this because I just want to own my power here.
I was going to say once and for all.
Once and for all. I don't want this to be, I know we shouldn't speak in negatives, but padded room, okay? I don't want this to be like start and stops. Like let this be the baseline. Let this be the, you know what I'm saying? Like the default here.
Yes.
As opposed to like, a couple of days I'm feeling like my power. And then the rest of the days is like everything owns me. Fuck that. Like I was like, But yes, and I've been asking the divine to help me with this too.
Good.
To help me with this. Cause I just, it's like, I see it with my husband, the way he approaches certain things, like, I'm like, okay, the way that I'm approaching things is just not the only way, like there's people, and I was one of those people before that would set an intention and just go in it, like just go right in it. But I'm happy to report that I was able to do that with the passion intention.
Good.
So yes, let's do that. I feel like that's going to be great.
Good.
So yes.
That good for now?
I think so. What do you think about what we've talked about here, Steven?
I really appreciate it. One thing I'd like to do, perhaps if you would like to, as and when you feel it, if you do, to look back at maybe the first few sessions.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did yesterday because I'm actually changing some of the descriptions and stuff or adding to it. And I was like looking through and I was just like, this is giving me really good information.
Well, good. Yeah, I would just be curious to take a look back and have a conversation with you about then and what things are looking and feeling like now, to really just, take some measure of your process.
I will say that I definitely feel stronger.
Mhm.
I definitely feel stronger on many different levels.
Mhm.
Um, um, and even though there's some themes here, topics and themes here that still are there right now that we talked about way before in our other sessions,
Mhm.
it's like how we talk about personal growth and spiritual workout. Like
Yes.
you may kind of experience the same things but from a different level,
Mhm. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like this. And that's how it feels.
Yeah. Good.
Hmm.
Good. As far as tonight, one of the things that really sticks with me is, and I think this is good for all of us, which is the degree to which you're talking about the dreams you had a month ago, 2 months ago, the clarity of the vividness of as though it just happened. You're just and and you're seeing those dreams as guidance. I can say, everybody's the arbiter of what is guidance. None of us can really tell another person, well, that's guidance. Although you've heard me do it a few times in spiritual workout, because sometimes it really is like, come on. But that's something that I'm really appreciating. And the quality of the connection to, yeah, this is guidance, is that it hasn't faded. We could have done this last week. I couldn't do it. We're here tonight. It's been going on in your head. It's not fading. The volume isn't going down. It's not
Mm.
fading into the background. That to me, generically, is evidence of guidance. And it comes up with people who come to spiritual workout who are just less experienced, where we'll say, okay, consider that this was guidance and then see what happens next time and next time. So
Yeah.
that really does stick with me. And again, in terms of the missing the physical presence, that's a reality that's the loss, if you ask me.
That is.
That's was here, it's gone, and it's not coming
That's a
back.
that's a fact.
That is the loss. The grief is the meaning we make of that.
Absolutely.
And so the experience of the loss and whatever any of us do to process that, to me, processing is just make it make sense. We're creating the narrative anyway. We're creating meaning anyway. And then we do that. And however much time it takes is however much time it takes. And like we were saying earlier, the opportunity is always to go from the sadness, the missing, the grief that people, right? And springboard, like we're saying, into intention. I don't have that level of nurturing, that quality of nurturing I got from my mom, but I intend to get it in any number of different
Sure.
ways. All I have to do is tend to it. And I think that that's a very big part of unconventional wisdom on grief and loss.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I love the fact that I was able to talk about it with my husband, using this language where I was just like, look, I'm not missing her, because I feel like death is bad, it shouldn't have happened, or, like it's not coming from there. It's just coming from missing her physical
Yeah,
presence,
yeah,
just
she was here.
yeah, she was like,
Yeah,
being able to hug her and like laugh with her about these things, like take those walks, like make fun of things, you know what I mean? Like she had a great sense of humor. She was so, you know what I mean? Like I really enjoyed her company, right? Like she was like my
nice.
homegirl, you know what I mean? Like I really enjoyed her company. And she had her own life at the same time. It wasn't like we were like, oh my God, like we're sis, mother-daughter friends, like we were, but it wasn't Like we had our own, I mean, she was just perfect, you know, with just how she raised us and our dynamic. It was just wonderful. Like,
Nice.
Lord of mercy. Like, oh my God, like I couldn't have asked for a better mom. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people say that, but perfect for us. I've been saying that since she passed away. Like, just perfect for my brother and I. Like, just the perfect mom for us.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, that great connection while also having our own lives. You know, it wasn't like she was meddling and she was like, I gotta, you know, or she's like, hey, like we're best friends, you know, like, no, it's like she wanted her space. I wanted mine. We'd love to get in together. You know, it was just freaking awesome, you know? But yeah, so I do, and I was telling him, I was like, I miss the physical presence, and I'll emote, I'll cry a little bit, and then okay, you know, you know, it's like I'll cry a little bit and just be like, all right, well, that's a fact, you know.
And one day you won't cry anymore.
Is that right?
Can be.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm open to whatever, right? Like I'm open to whatever. If I feel touched like way down the line, you know, then okay, fine. But as long as it's like touched and not, you know what I mean?
You will be touched.
Yes.
But you will not cry from loss.
Right. Okay. Yes.
If you keep going, and you are, and you will.
Yeah. No, and I see the difference, you know, from before, and you know, I was really, really having a hard time this first year with the idea of my mom suffering. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing how that's lightened up quite a bit, and being able to catch myself in the beliefs that are at work when I feel that. So yeah, I liked that I was able to feel that in a contained way, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you, Steven. We will do you have anything else to add, Steven?
I do not. Okay. Other than thank you.
Well, thank you, Steven, for, you know, helping me really align with this, you know, the overarching intention, which is physical loss into spiritual gain, you know, focusing on what's actually still there, right? Focusing on the intentions of connecting with the divine, you know, learning more about myself, right? Personal growth, using it as a vehicle for personal spiritual growth here. That's been extremely helpful for me, you know, and I think it's something that, you know, considering the kind of relationship that I had with my mom, this could have been a very different.
Sure.
I mean, really, you know, the kind of relationship I had with my mom, like it could have been
a different process,
a very different trying process for me. As I've mentioned in previous sessions, the idea of something like this happening was like my worst nightmare, you know? And I appreciate and am proud of the way that I'm handling this. Thanks to what we're doing here.
I commend your efforts.
So, thank you. You heard it here, folks. We will be back either the next week or two to really.
It won't be next week.
Okay, the following.
I just realized, yeah.
The following in 2 weeks, where we will do some serious transmutation of
on the set of beliefs that add up to heaviness in your heart
and resistance to co-creating my life.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay.
See you then.
Thank you once again, Steven. Thanks to everyone who saw us here. The recording is going to be right up, like right after we finish here, right on the YouTube page. And like I said, in the next 2 weeks, we will come back and do some serious transmutation here.
Forward.
All right. Goodbye from Steven Morrison, founder, creator of Spiritual Workout, author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. Wonderful book. In other words, Spiritual Workout for Grief and Loss. I am Delilah De La Rosa signing out. And until the next time.
Bye for now.